Good evening, everyone. So, this is the altcoin video I've been promising for you. Now, this is probably going to be the longest video. It's going to go into detail across all the charts, so hit the like button for this. Give me a subscribe for this, because I'm going to go through it all and give you a full picture of what's happening with the alt market and when's it likely to go. So, I've got myself a wee agenda here because there's so much to get through. So pause it if you need to now, get yourself a cup of tea. Don't get a beer because you'll forget whatever you're doing. So get yourself a cup of tea or whatever you need, sit down and let's get into this. So the first chart we're going to look at is the Fed balance sheet. Now this is when the Federal Reserve is essentially ejecting money into the economy or removing money from the economy. And right now they are removing money from the economy. And as talked about in the last FOMC meeting, they are now reducing that by 80%. So imagine this was a swimming pool, the Federal Reserve, and this is basically the swimming pool's full of liquidity, the economy with the money. The Federal Reserve had the water pump on full blast, exiting all the water from the swimming pool. And now last week they decided to reduce that by 80%. So they're still removing money from the economy, but they reduced it by 80%. And now, maybe in the next one, they'll put a pause on it. So, what we've got here is the balance sheet of the Federal Reserve in orange. So, why is this important? Because, let me show you. We have Ethereum, Bitcoin in the pink. As you can see, if we put a 200-day EMA that follows the Federal Reserve balance, when we get a crossover on the 200 EMA, if I can zoom in here for you a little bit, I've got so many graphs over, I don't even think I can get it tied up for you. But when we get a crossover on that orange line, this is essentially the bottom with Ethereum, Bitcoin. And when we get the crossover at the top, it doesn't quite call the top, but when we get the crossover, when the Fed starts removing money from the economy, you can see the top happens around here, and then price starts going down on Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So, for alt season to happen, we need to see Ethereum start outpacing Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin moves up 100%, Ethereum moves up 200%, we need to see it outstrip it. When we see that, this is when alt season happens. So right now, we are very close to the bottom. If not, we're near it. We're very close to it. And I have a feeling that this will carry on bleeding until we see this get an upturn. That's the main idea of this. And if we look at Bitcoin dominance, you can see Bitcoin dominance tops when the crossover's there and bottoms when the crossover's there. So this is also very important. You can see basically the government, the Federal Reserve, either adding or removing money to the economy will either make the bit dominance top and Ethereum Bitcoin bottom, or the opposite, you know, when this either crosses over up or downwards. So this is a fundamental part of when alt season will happen. We need to see an uptick with the Federal Reserve start putting money into the economy again. So from here, we're going to go into total 2. Now, total 2, if I just remove them, and I can remove that. So, total 2, this is the total market cap excluding Bitcoin, everything else, including ETH. As you can see, we have the wedge here on the weekly. This is a huge, from the last previous top, all the way down, and from the bottom up, we've got a huge wedge, and we've got a breakout, retest, up to the top, down, breakout and retest, where we're going to go from here. As you can see, let me see if I can just adjust some charts for you. Here we are. What have we got? Price moves up and it retraces. Now it needs to do a full retrace for total 2. And it's done it. It's done it a huge all the way down to retrace to the 618 of this entire move, and it moves straight up. And when it got the breakout, it's came all the way down. It's retested this main trend line, which is important. But it's also retraced the 786 fib down here. And it's retested this main trend line. So it has completely done the full retest, and from here we expect to see price start moving along. It might carry on down, but we expect it to hold this line at least. This line here, expect to hold it, because it's done the full breakout with volume. It's got the, what else have we got? We also retraced to the 50 weekly EMA. So if I can just turn that on for you. Sorry, what have I got? The 50? No, sorry, this one must be the 100. Bear with us. Yeah. So if you see, this one's actually 100, total free is the 50. Okay, so the 100 is respected this all the way through. It's broken out, it's tapped up, rejected, came up, retested, came up, and retested again. Plus we've had a huge pullback. So the first one was 40%. This one was around about 40% as well. So you can see similar moves. They've pulled back around about 40%. They've retested the fibs, they've retested the trend lines, and they're holding the 100-week EMA as support. Now, I might chop around a wee bit, but I'll be waiting for something to trigger to get this going. But if you cannot see, that is bullish. Structure has been held. It's a breakout, it's a retest, it's ready to go. Now, the reason why this is pulled back so heavy is because Ethereum has been lacking so much this bull run compared to others. So that's why you've seen total 3 pull back. If we look at now total 3, which is here, sorry, let me just go into total 2, I haven't finished there. So along with total 2, we've had reducing volume, so that's check as well. We've also had, each time it is touched into extreme fear and wicked out. It's done it again, and it's done it again. And then we've also got this stochastic RSI right at rock bottom, stochastic RSI right at rock bottom. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 things that are very similar to this last breakout, all while holding the bullish structure and doing the retest. So this is very bullish. You know, we might look back on it now and think, you know, at the time, oh my god, but once we see this kick out, we'll just look back and go, of course that was just a breakout and retest. Why would that not be? So that covers the Bitcoin market, excluding Bitcoin. So now we're going to go on to total 3. This is the crypto market, excluding Bitcoin and excluding ETH. So this has all your alts, including some like USDT. USDT you've got your Cardano, you know, you've got all the alts apart from Ethereum and Bitcoin. So let's look at this one in detail. Let me just change this. Guys, if you are liking this, hit the like button, hit the comment, share it with a friend. This is going in deep onto across the whole picture of the alts. I'm not just giving you, I think, well, I don't know, Dogecoin's going to go to £1 million or whatever, I don't know. I'm giving you the whole picture of the market. I'm not just shilling you coins. I'm giving you what the market's doing, the technicals behind it, and the philosophy, the psychologically and the theory behind it all. So, you know, hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It's going to be a long video, but it's going to truly give you a good picture of what's happening. So, this is total 3, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So what have we got going on here? As you can see, this chart, it loves to retest the 618 Fibonacci level, and it loves to hold the 50 EMA. So we've got a huge breakout from the last bull run, comes right down, retest the 618. Look how perfectly it retests it to the button, and here it breaks right out, start of the bull, comes right back, retests the 618, leaves a wick, retests the 618, leaves a wick. Here, comes right out, retests the 618, leaves a wick. Can you see it's just patterns that play out over and over again? And when it retests the 618, it retests the 50 EMA weekly moving average. It holds it as support. Again, look, coming down, chops it, but look how good, just holds it all. Now, look what's happening again. It's come right down. It's hit the 618. It's retesting the 50 EMA. And it's also in a bullish wedge, which breaks out the majority of the time upwards. We also have, each time it wicks down into extreme fear. Exactly what's been happening there. And then, what else have we got? We've got the extreme fear, bullish wedge, stochastic, reached rock bottom. It's reached rock bottom as well. So similar to the last one, this chart is displaying everything that we need to see here as well. And if you look closely, so let me just say here, this is a low and a higher low. And on the RSI, it's a high and a lower low. So this is bullish divergence. So, can you not see how bullish this looks? It's also retesting the structure of the last pivot point. You've got the retest of the 50 EMA, you've got the retest of the Fibonacci level, you're in a bullish pattern, you've got the stochastic at rock bottom, and you've got bullish RSI divergence. And it's wicked into the fear and wicked out on the fear and greed. So everything's looking good for the crypto market. Total 3 with Bitcoin, without Bitcoin and ETH. So you can see the first two charts. Can you not see? They're having different EMAs, different measures of testing, but they're all holding and retesting massive support right now. So this is huge. So we've done the Fed balance sheet, we've done total 3, we've done total 2 and total 3. If you like it, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, this is just going to be a full in-depth. If you truly want to understand what's happening with alt season, where are we going with it, this is a video that's going to give you everything you need to know. No other channel is giving you this and this information. They just don't do it. Watch the video and see it all. So next, we have others. This is the total market cap minus the top 10. So this is basically no XRP, no ADA, no Bitcoin, no Ethereum. It's just the alts below the top 10. Now this is quite good for measuring because this is the more degen side that everyone's in, to be honest. So what have we got going on without others? So this one is a little bit, let me jump in here. We need to swap the 50 for the 200. Now this one is a little bit clogged here. Let me just try and help a little bit. So you can see with similar, you see how the different charts are holding different supports. And the others is more at the risk level. It's more down the risk curve. So you expect it to be the 200 week moving exponential moving average because it's more risky. So we get a retest, a breakout, it's retested again. It's come up and it's retested again. You see it's doing the same things. It's pulled back on the first one, 60%. Pulled back on the second one, 6%. So you can see similar. Maybe it needs to just come down here and retest this, and then that will get you the 60%. But you've got a very similar pullback, A retest the 618, a retest the 786. This was a deeper correction this time. We've got wicked into the fear and greed and the stochastic RSI at rock bottom. So this is also in a very strong position right now. Now, it's not as high. If you look at total 2, it's retesting the wedge. Total 3 is, let me just pull that down. Hasn't even retested the wedge. This is because Ethereum has been so weak, it's pushed this index of alts down. But total 3, you've had XRP, Cardano, the American coins, they've been so strong, so they haven't even got down to retest this yet. So they're in a stronger position. And then you've got the alts that are outside the top 10. They haven't held that, but they've come down to retest the main support here. So it's exactly as expected. You know, we'll just look for a breakout trend and that will be us to go long. But this is exactly as expected. You know, the bigger the market cap, the less risky, the less the correction is. So we've covered the Fed balance and the alt charts. So Ethereum, Bitcoin is a big measure of when will alt season start. You know, I showed it in the Fed balance sheet there. When Ethereum bottoms, it tends to lead the market because people rotate from Bitcoin into Ethereum. So how is this looking? This is really, this has dropped down so much, even further than I would expect to drop. So let's have a look. So we're hitting very strong support here. Very strong support. And it's wick filled 100% of this wick here. And Ethereum, Bitcoin will tend to double bottom before moving off. So in the timing window, if it comes down and it's hit this and it's filled at 100%, and it's against really incredibly strong support here, this could be the bottom, but it could go further again, because ideally we want to see the balance sheet overlap the EMA. So if Ethereum, Bitcoin was to go down further, if it follows this trend line down, it follows it to, that's the 6th of May. That is the week that the FOMC will announce their next move. So let's just say the FOMC pauses from there. This comes down, and this will also be in line with the bottom of the market from last cycle. I can't see it going past the bottom of the cycle. From the bottom from the last cycle, it's something will be fundamentally wrong there. So let's just say that's the max it goes, and it follows that trend line. It follows right into the FOMC meeting. So it's funny how these things all they're all in sync in their own little way. But it's hard to see, if we invert this chart with the one I'll show you next, this will show the blow off top, and this is basically the inverse of it. This is the capitulation of it all. Lows and goes, something wrong, it follows the current trend line, and wick fill sound. So we covered the 3 ones for the Ethereum Bitcoin chart here. And guys, if you've got any questions, stick them in the comments, share this to your friends, stick a comment, stick a like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. This is the full breakdown of how alts are sitting. So, the Ethereum Bitcoin chart is how many Bitcoin can one Ethereum buy? And you're in 0.00, it's all a bit messy. But what I like to do is, how many Bitcoin can one Ethereum buy? Now this is the inverse of this chart. And I like this because we can track the blow off top here. And what do I mean by a blow off top? I'm going to show you on the MicroStrategy chart here. Do you guys see something similar? You see it? Looks like a blow off top, but just before. See, we're on that last move there. So MicroStrategy, 1 angle, 2 angle, 3 angle. It made that huge 4th angle up, broke the trend, and then that's coming down. So, if one Bitcoin can buy you the 42 Ethereum right now. So the higher this goes, the more value Bitcoin is. So if one Bitcoin can buy you 56 Ethereum, one Bitcoin can buy you 80 Ethereum. Bitcoin is worth more. But when this breaks down, Bitcoin can buy less Ethereum. So one can only buy you 35, one Bitcoin can only buy you 30, can only buy you 25. This is because Ethereum is outpacing Bitcoin. So you might need to listen to this a couple of times just to get your head around it, because it is a little bit complicated. But when we are looking for Ethereum to outpace Bitcoin, that's essentially the start of altcoin. And we can use these charts to figure out when does that start. So we've got the 1 angle, 2 angle, 3 angle, 4 angle. Look at this angle here. It's almost vertical. And it's just slowly broken this. So this is potentially going to give us a signal here. We've wick filled this huge wick. Price likes to come up and refill it. And it's also at very strong resistance across the market here from the cycles before. So if we see a breakdown here with volume, you know, a big candle with volume, this could be the start of alt season, which will be a very early indicator to it. So very similar to ETH Bitcoin, we're looking for ETH Bitcoin to go up. Bitcoin Ethereum, we're looking for price to go down. And we've got the stochastic RSI at the top, RSI oversold, so things are shaping up here. We're at strong resistance. We've had 100% wick fill. Sorry, so yeah, this will cover this chart here. So let's move on to Bitcoin dominance. What have we got for Bitcoin dominance? Bearish divergence, strong resistance in the red, break of small trend. Superb. Right, so what have we got on Bitcoin dominance? We've got the stochastic at the top, which is a good sign. We've got this huge trend upwards from Bitcoin, and this has been from the bottom because it's been basically a Bitcoin heavy. In a 4-year cycle, Bitcoin tends to run for the first 3 years, and then the 4th year that we're in the now, we see a rotation into alts. So we've tracked this trend line right up here. Let's go in. Now it's hit up, and this is very strong resistance here. It's hit it, it's bounced down, it's tried to get back up, it's been huge rejected. It's tried several times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 weeks it's tried to break through and it can't. And what have we got? We have price making a higher high and RSI making a lower low. Bearish divergence. So this is going to push price down. And then what do we have for it to push price down on? We've got this trend line here. And if price breaks this trend line, it's going to move down. And because it's moving down, it's then going to break this main trend line that's been its support for the entire bull run. And once it breaks this trend line, after coming down, faking up, coming right up here, putting a huge wick in, potentially for the top, and now it just needs to find its way down. As soon as it breaks this trend line, that is alt season. Bitcoin dominance is going to just dump so hard. And why it's dumping so hard is because everyone is rotating the Bitcoin into alts. And then that buy pressure for the alts sends it skyrocketing. So you can see again, we've gone through all these charts. Total 2 at huge support. Total 3 at huge support. Altcoins minus the top 10 at huge support. Ethereum, Bitcoin, very close to a bottom. Bitcoin, Ethereum, very close to a top. Bitcoin dominance, very close to the top. You can see how all these charts are, it's almost positioning it. It might take some weeks, it might take some months, but these charts are slowly getting into the position. So when the trigger happens, boom, alt season, massive ejection of liquidity, and then we go off. So we've got 3 more charts to cover, guys. So the next one. Now this chart is a good one. I like this one. This is others. Now these charts, you can't just get these charts from TradingView. It's almost like a formula. I'm asking it to pull the others data, and I want to divide it by the total 3 minus others. So what this does is, this compares the price, how the alt market is doing, against, it's essentially saying the top 10 alts, how's it doing? The coins below the top 10 versus the coins that are in the top 10. That's essentially what it's doing. So you can, as you can see here, the coins below the top 10 were screaming up. They were outpacing the top 10 coins like Cardano, XRP. And you will remember this if you've been in the market, because remember, Cardano, XRP, they were not moving at all. They were dead. And the meme coins were running, and the AI coins were running, so they were stripping the top 10 coins. But then all of a sudden, with Trump being in power, and they're looking for the strong American coins, XRP, Cardano started to run, and they started outstripping all the alts outside the top 10. Now, you look back, this full bull market, this full from 2018, this trend line holds it all. So you can see the top 10 coins have outstripped all the other alts. Strip, but it's coming down to potentially the end of the move. And if we look here, we can take the measured move, because this is, price comes down, it creates a bull flag, and then price goes down. This is what you called a measured move. So we can take this, we can take this from top to bottom. This is from here to the bottom. And we can also use a trend extension, but it does the same thing. But this is a good visual. And then you add that in from top to bottom, you can see it's coming down roughly at the same pace as well. And if it comes down, if you look at that, look how perfect. I'm trying to find which one to use. This one here. Look, the measured move hits perfectly into this trend line. So, the top 10 are outstripping, but they're coming to huge resistance. And if this starts bouncing, the altcoins that are not in the top 10 are going to start running harder than the altcoins in the top 10. And why would that be? It will be because the Federal Reserve is probably going to pause this. So if the Federal Reserve pauses this runoff, that means there's no chokehold on the altcoins anymore. They're not removing money from the market, so at least it gives them a chance to run. And you can also see with the huge run from XRP, Cardano and all that, maybe it's a time for, okay, we're going to rotate into, use all them profits and then rotate into the alts that are not in the top 10. So you got a combo of things there. The rotation from the top 10 into the alts, just like it's done time and time again. The whales will run up certain sectors and rotate in. They'll run up the big caps and rotate in the small caps. Run up the small caps, rotate into the big caps. Run up the small caps again. So if you're holding coins that are not in the top 10, I think we're close to a bottom. You see all these charts at the top of resistance to the bottom of supports. And then with the potential of the Fed cut, now making a change in the policy, everything's pulling together. These charts are starting to form their bottoms and they're starting to form their tops. And it's waiting for the trigger to fire and dump. And that is going to be the FOM, that's going to be the Federal Reserve. They'll give the go-ahead. Once they say, that's it. Because if the Federal Reserve just said, let's go now, not just now, but previously, all the charts need to be in position. So all the charts over the last years have been positioning themselves to get them into this position when the market will now go risk on. Because the market's basically risk off or risk on. And now, with the pausing of taking money out of the economy, that will be the trigger to go risk on. And then for the last one, see if I've got this covered. Trend extension, yeah, cool, got all this. I mean, what time are we even on here? This is going to be what have we got? 34 minutes. Yeah. Like and subscribe, guys. If you're finding this, I'm hoping you are finding this useful. It's a deep dive straight into the complete alt position. No one will give you this information. They keep it to themselves. I don't care. I'm getting out this market when at the top, so I'm not holding any secrets. I don't mind sharing it all because this cycle, I don't need to keep my strategy or anything. I'm in a nice comfortable position, let's say. So, others Bitcoin. Let's get into it. So, we have others Bitcoin. This is ranging back from 2017. Huge trend line that supports it. And this is similar to when others are outstripping top 10. This is whether others is outstripping Bitcoin. So when others is running up, this is the altcoins outside the top 10, so I'm just going to call them alts. When the alts are running up, they're outstripping Bitcoin. They come down when Bitcoin then outstrips alts. Alts outstripping Bitcoin, Bitcoin outstripping alts. And now we're coming to the point where alts are going to be outstripping Bitcoin soon. And you notice how this all comes on the background of absolute sentiment, rock bottom, ETH's dead, alts are dead, only Bitcoin can do it. This is what happens. There will be a rotation. And as Bitcoin starts running up, the alts will start running up as well. So what have we got for here? How alts there, we covered that. It's currently below the major trend line. Now, this would be an issue. However, we have, let me get my charts. The stochastic RSI at rock bottom. So, good sign for start moving up. But we also have, now this is very important, we have, see that? Price making there, and price making a lower low. Then we've got RSI, and price making a higher high. This is bullish divergence. So we've now got bullish divergence. We've got stochastic at rock bottom. And so the bullish divergence, it will push price up. So, pushes price up. The stochastic RSI starts moving. All of a sudden, Bitcoin just needs to move. Bitcoin just needs to move, say 10%, and it's back into trend. Now what does that mean? That means that if Bitcoin is back in trend, this has been a false move, and this is what we call a fake out. And when there's a fake out, it's designed to dump down, make everyone sell, and then reverse it straight back up. And when it does this, it's going to get itself into trend. And then, whenever there's a false move, there is an opposite move that is even bigger in size than that move. So, it's faked out, it's got bullish divergence, it's got the stochastic RSI at the bottom, it's going to get itself back into trend. And look, when it hits this trend line, 1, 2, 3, 4. These trend lines normally break on the 4th or the 5th. So you can see it 1, 2, 3, fake out, dump, fake out, up, and it's going to hit it for the 5th time. And what happens on the 5th time, 4th or 5th time? It breaks. So we have, let me just cover that, I'll keep there for future reference. So we've got the move, and all of a sudden, alts look like they're on the run. We've had a fake out. It's back into trend, and once it hits this, it's very likely to break, which will send it up further. Now let's look at the moves that we've had previously from other altcoin runs. The last one, as a whole, was 12x. This one, 2 cycles ago was a 12x. So if Bitcoin if Bitcoin doubled, the alts will 24x because it's against Bitcoin. Last time it was a 6x against Bitcoin, so if Bitcoin doubled, the alts would run 6x against Bitcoin, so that will give it a 12x in dollars. Now let's say that's 12 at 6, so let's just say we get a 3x now. And that looks reasonable because you get a double top there. So technically it looks sound. So I think we're going to get at least a 3x in the alts against Bitcoin. Now, this is where you need to know what alts to be in. Because when you are going to be in this alts, you want to be in an alt that's outperforming the altcoins as a whole. And the way you can do this is you can put your chart, say your coins that you're in, say for example, I don't know, what's a coin in the top 10? Render, no, outside the top 10, say Render. So let's have a look. Render versus others. I've never looked at this before, but let's have a look. You see how Render was outperforming the alt market. These are the coins, it's obviously had its pullback. So the other coins have been outperforming Render. But you then look at it technically, is it going to hit a double bottom? Is it ready to run? So this looks to me high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So it looks like Render might be ready to outperform very roughly. I don't normally look at altcoins just for this reason. I don't want to give anyone ideas. But that is just an example of what you look for. I don't want to pick your coins. I want you guys to pick your coins. So when you're looking for others, the altcoin to break out. So say Bitcoin then moves from now, it moves, what's Bitcoin at? It does a double. We'll say we're at 90, so say it gets to 180,000. That's a 2x from Bitcoin. So we're going to get a 6x in alts as a whole. So you need to pick the coins that are going to be outperforming the alts as a whole, because some of them will outperform them, which will make in 10x, 15x, 20x, but others will not others, the chart, but some other alts that will be just dead in the water. They won't be, so they'll only be doing, a 1x, some might be doing a 2x, some might be doing a 1x, some might not even make any money, some might still be bleeding a bit against Bitcoin, but this is just saying a 3x as a whole against Bitcoin is what the market, the alts could be doing. Could go more, but I think that's a good start. But you need to find the alts that are going to run harder than the other alts. And if you get the average alts, you'll get 3x over Bitcoin. So probably a 6x in the dollars. But you need to find coins that are going to run harder than the alts. And that will give you an 8x, a 10x against in dollars. I hope this makes sense to you. Please, if it doesn't, just rewatch it again a few times and just ask me in the comments. I'll describe it all. I'll even do another video again about it all. So yeah, that's the critical part of the alts. A lot of people just pick alts and expect it to run. It's like you've got to be sensible. You've got to make sure you buy when the altcoins are at the bottom against Bitcoin, and then you've got to buy. You've got to look at what sectors are going to run. Like AI. Is AI going to run? I don't know. Chances are it might do. Okay, what is the market cap of the coin? The bigger the market cap, the less it's going to run. The smaller the market cap, the more likely it's going to have a greater X, but there's more risk involved. The team isn't established yet. There's a lot of unknowns. It hasn't been stress tested like others, so there's a spectrum of risk. And it's your job when you want to get in the altcoins is to pick strong narratives, pick strong coins within the narratives, and you need to do that by looking at the supply, the team, piece it together, and if you're happy, then make sure you are outperforming Bitcoin as a start, and then if you're going to be in alts, you might as well outperform the market as a whole in there. So that's roughly how I would go about if I was going to be choosing my alts now. Right, we're nearly there. Last one, USDT dominance. Now, this one has marked the tops and bottoms of the market since it started. It's holding the trend line all the way up from 2017 till now. Once this breaks, this will absolutely send all crypto to the moon. I don't use that I don't use that term, but it will just send them off crazy. And as you can see, we've had a wee false breakout there, which was just a wee snippet of it. But what have we got? We're at the top of this trend line. We've made the high. We made lower highs. And what's this? This is a descending triangle. This is a bearish pattern. This pattern breaks down the majority of the time. And what have we got? Stochastic RSI at the top. We also have RSI divergence, bearish divergence, making a higher high, making a lower low, while it's at resistance. So it should come down. Now when it comes down, it's going to chop up this trend line again, and it's going to come down. Maybe it's there, maybe come down, who knows. But eventually it might just come down and break. Eventually, the way the patterns are, that should break. If it comes down to touch this, it's broken the trend line, and it's already hit this support plenty of times. If that breaks, everyone, this is basically stable coins. And if you just imagine stable coins as the dollar, and it's everyone rotating their dollars into the crypto market. So when this breaks down, there's less stable coins, there's more people buying, there's more crypto getting bought. So this is breaking down, but the buying pressure, it's the selling of the stable coins, but the buying of the altcoins and crypto as a whole. And that's what drives the market up, that huge buy pressure from unloading all the stable coins into alts and crypto as a whole. So guys, let's summarize this all up. It's been an epic video. If you are still here, and hats off to you. If you're still here, put a wee comment to me so I can see who are the early OGs of this channel, because I don't know, maybe one day I'll release my whole bloody course and you guys are the early ones. I might give you something for it. So give me a comment if you're still here till the end. So let's summarize it all. We're waiting for the Fed. We're starting to make the moves now. The Fed is completely stopped reducing. The Fed has substantially slowed down by 80%, removing money from the economy. The next step is for it to pause, and then the next step after that is to start increasing money into the economy. So imagine it being a swimming pool like I was talking about at the start. So instead of having the water pump on, you're basically turning the fireman's hose into the swimming pool and turning it on, and the water rises, liquidity rises, prices rise. And while we're waiting for this to happen, we have all the altcoin charts at the tops, at the bottoms, where they need to be. So you can see this move is happening soon, because these charts have positioned themselves to pretty much where they need to be. For when this happens with the Fed, these charts will then rip up or dump down, all in a bullish fashion, to send prices up. And that will be when we get alt season. So I hope you enjoyed that, guys. I told you it was going to be a mad video. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, guys. I do daily updates every single day, but I got requested to do a deep dive into alts. It wasn't even requested a deep dive just to talk about alts, but I want to give you guys like real information. There's so many channels that just screw the people over. I'm not going to name a few. Of course I am. Crypto Banter is one of them. Absolutely do not watch that channel. Them guys are just scammers. You know, they've got the meme coins. Was it Gummy? Was it Baked? And they dumped on all their guys. Coins went to zero. It's shocking. But me, I want to just put out honest TA that can help people make money, because I've seen how it's helped me in my life. So, thank you guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be here tomorrow for the usual daily update on Bitcoin and how things are going. Cheers.